Hello, it's your Midwest girl, Olivia Valadez. Please like and subscribe. Today I'm just gonna go ahead and jump in right into the topic for things to consider. And this is an easy one for me because it got me through a lot of different phases in life and difficult situations. That's going to office hours. So we're going to start with school, and then I can get into how this could be applicable in the workplace, in your professional life, and also in your personal life too. So when I was in high school, I really struggled with math. I struggled with math too in middle school, but it got really bad in high school. And I remember going to my parents and they would try to help me with homework, but of course, the way we did math when I was in school versus how they did math were different strategies. They had different techniques. They weren't really sure. And so they kept telling me, you're gonna have to go talk to your teacher. You're gonna have to talk to your teacher. And so from 8th grade on, especially, I got very used to going in after hours or before school and talking with my instructor to help me just figure out how to even do the homework, how to do the problems, how to get the formulas together. When it came to algebra, I just did not pick that up very easily. And then that carried over quicker. What I mean by this is go to them if you're struggling. It's very hard. It's not comfortable. It's never convenient. I swear, when I was at Kansas State, they always had office hours, say it was like Tuesday, Thursday, and sometimes it was very inconvenient times. And I felt that that was sometimes on purpose, and they'd be like 4 to 5:30. So you're done with your day, maybe at 1. You have to keep the energy up to go back to campus, park your car, walk on campus, and then go to that instructor's office or that professor's office. But that being said, it is the principle of this that got me through so many things and ahead of other people. When I tell you I was never ahead in school, I mean that all in all. That's actually a huge reason as to why I became a teacher, because I struggled in school. Anytime after elementary school, school was not super easy for me. I did not have a great attention span for it. I was good as far as I knew how to play the game, and that's what got me through it. I knew how to not disrupt class, be quiet enough. I was more, like sneaky. I cared about my social life, so we'd pass notes or something like that. But I wouldn't be causing an issue. I knew not to cause an issue because I didn't have the grades to cause an issue. My grades were mediocre. They were fine. B's, but always in math, a C or a D, always. That was the only exception for my parents and what they would allow, and it was just very difficult for me. So I started learning from a young age. Although I don't want to do this, I have to do this. It's something that is just going to be a part of my life. And it was all the way through college. I struggled some with the different science classes I had to take in college, and then I also struggled with math as well. Why this is so important is because if you just attempt to try, you guys, you will be beating half of the population of wherever you're at work, at the gym, at school, at wherever. I'm telling you, if you just put in a little bit extra effort, you're lapping everyone. And I didn't believe that for a long time. My dad used to tell me all the time, showing up is the hardest part. Like, showing up is the most important and hardest part. And I used to think, like, that's stupid. That's not true. There's no way that's true. It is true. It absolutely is. And I noticed it, but way after the fact, probably even after I graduated. I just knew it was the next right thing to do. And it's just important. People, when I was in college, students were self-selecting out. So when I got to college, only a few people from my hometown went to K-State. And I was not close with any of them. And that a lot of them, I'd say everybody else who got into K-State, who I know of, they were all smarter than me. They were all, I think all of them were in AP classes. I was not in AP classes, okay? So, and I didn't have the energy for that. I was way too focused on my social life. Right or wrong, I was way too focused on my social life. I think of the 3 or 4 other people who went to K-State, I think only one of them graduated with me. at all. I think the other three came back to our hometown or went somewhere else for college, which is fine, but they were self-selecting out, and that was creating room for me. Because when I tell you I walked around that campus, I think there's like around 30,000 students who go to K-State. It is a state college, so it's huge. I had no business being there. I had none. I didn't even, at least the level of delusion I was at in college was so on a mass scale that I knew I was intimidated, but I don't think I understood how smart some of these students were around me until I got there, and I was like, I don't belong here. Nevertheless, though, I knew the only way I could do it was my least favorite way, and that was to put in extra work. I went to free tutoring sessions. I went to office hours of my professor. I've had teachers tell me, you're the only person in maybe 2 years who has used my office hours on a regular basis. So consistently going each week, not just stopping by once to dispute a test score or dispute a grade on a project. And I was like, yep, that's me. They'll forever remember me. So I think it was on Chris Williamson's podcast. I believe he had on a guest. Shout out to Chris Williamson. Hey, Chris Williamson, my dream is to meet you someday. I think he had on a guest, and he was maybe from Delta Force. And he said, I think that it was some crazy level when he was in Delta Force training school. He said, I think it was like almost 40% of people self-select out. And when I was watching this, I thought, what does that even mean? Like, what does that even entail? And he said that it wasn't that they were dismissed. It wasn't that they didn't reach a criteria. It means that they were so exhausted mentally or physically or both, and also their spirit was so exhausted, they quit and left on their own. No instructor told them to leave. No teacher told them to leave. Nothing had happened where they didn't have a decision. They chose to leave. And shout out to everybody who was at college in the same time that I was. And I don't mean this in a mean way. I mean this authentically, because you self-selecting out gave me space. It gave me a spot at the table. Because again, I don't really feel like I had a lot of business being there. I just knew I could outwork these other students. I could work harder and longer, and I had the stamina for it because, baby, I've been going to office hours or seeing my teacher before or after school since the 8th grade, okay? This isn't new for me. So I've done it when it's windy, when it's cold, when everybody else already went home for winter break. My butt was walking to meet my teacher for Bio 1 or Bio 2 or whatever class it was that I could not grasp the concept or figure out the content very well. And I was going. And at the time, it sucked. It's embarrassing. I'm like, why is no one else doing this? How come I'm the only one doing this? And I had to change that mindset after a while and just be like, it doesn't matter that other people aren't doing this. You have to do this. This is where you're at. So that's a big thing. Ask for people's names when you are in class, when you call your healthcare people, when you are doing anything where there is a contact who has information that you need. Ask for people's names. Ask for the professor's names. Ask for the TA's name. I'm sure you're like, duh, that's listed. There are truly people who are at businesses or in college and they don't even know their TA's name. They don't know the professor's names. They don't know any of that, especially if they see you before your annual review comes, say at work, or before midterms come at school. If they know your face and you know their name, I guarantee you, if you need help or you need them to boost your grade or do you some sort of favor, you have a 95% better chance of getting something than if they haven't seen you one time and you don't show up to class on a regular basis. That's just the truth of the matter. The next thing is ask questions. If you do not know the answer, find someone who does and don't be embarrassed about it. And honestly, even if you're embarrassed about it, do it anyway. There's so many things I did in college that I was like, I'm so embarrassed about this. Or when I started a new job And I've done 2 different careers in my life. So I've had a lot of newness, and the discomfort doesn't stop. That is a huge one. Part of asking questions and talking to other people is letting go of your ego. I know that's not fun. I'm a younger sibling, so I only have one older sister. She's about 2 years, but when we were growing up, you would have thought we were like 10 years apart, because she was not shy about letting me know, you're younger, you do not know as much, you're not as wise, step down. So I was used to being wrong, to be honest. And I'm not really somebody who cares about being right that often. I always say, if it's between being right or having a relationship, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to choose having a relationship, because I just don't want to do that. That being said, I have a very serious backbone. Okay, my backbone it's present. Let's just say that. The next thing is work with other people. I don't know what's going on. It's coming to fruition on the forefront of at least podcasts that being a lone wolf or being a team of one is not always the best answer, and typically isn't the best answer, because we're human beings, we're social creatures. We are not meant to be in isolation. But that saved my butt. As I got into College of Education, I got much closer with my peers, and they would remind me, like, hey, don't forget to take this quiz by Friday at 11 p.m. or whatever. Hey, by the way, don't forget, we need to meet this Saturday to work on our lesson plan. All these different things that I could have forgotten. And then also I would remind them, we are not meant to do this journey alone. Whatever the journey is, whatever part of your life you're in, it is meant to be done with help, truly. And it will be so much easier if you do it with help. Like, yes, there are plenty of people who can do it on their own, and then they can say, I did that by myself, nobody helped me out, X, Y, and Z, which is not fully true. Most people have paved a way for you, or you have had somebody help you along in your process. Even if it was just one person, even if it was just a moment or a scholarship or a whatever, that's still help. And it's so much better if you have other people in your corner and who know you. That saved my butt so many times. Shout out to everybody who was in the graduating class of elementary education at Kansas State, because y'all had my back for real. Do not let the perfectionism get in your guys' way. The goal is not to do things perfectly. I finally had to tell myself, like, is this better? Are you just doing better in any way? Are you mentally doing better if you pursue this? Are you physically doing better than you were yesterday? It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't even need to be the best you've ever done, which it's good to challenge yourself and get there. But if you are struggling, just ask yourself, like, is this better than what I did yesterday? Even by, I don't know, dust a lamp, wipe down a mirror, take your car through the car wash. Are you putting in steps, little steps each day to at least try to do better? You don't need a home run every time. My dad always says base hits. That's all you need is base hits. Again, compound interest over time beats out everything else. So does compound effort over time and action over time. I told y'all motivation ain't gonna get you nowhere because you run out of motivation. You guys know this already. You know this already. I know you do. The next thing is not giving up. That's a huge one. You're going to feel like it. I wish we didn't. And when you feel like giving up, you don't think of the moment you're thinking of right now. Like in that moment when you want to give up, it's so much worse. It's so much heavier and daunting and lonely a lot of times than you thought it was going to be. You're like, I know I'm gonna want to give up, but I'm gonna push that past it because I'm a hustler or whatever. It's usually so much harder or difficult in that moment than you anticipate it being. And that's pretend that you're already doing it. And what I mean by that is whatever you're trying to accomplish, whether you're trying to be, again, a better partner, thinking less selfless, finishing a degree, working a new job, trying to exercise more. Whatever you're doing, think as if you're already that person and it's already happening. That future self that you picture in your head, that you're like, oh, I'm gonna have this type of physique, or oh, I'm gonna be driving this car. Act like you're already them. When you get out of your ranky dank beater car, act like you just got out of your new BMW X5, whatever it is that you want, you know? Pretend like you're already there. And I also tell myself, I'm always like, this is what doing it feels like. When you're always like, Nike's like, just do it, just do the workout, just put in the reps, just whatever, apply for the job. I always tell myself every day when I don't feel like even calling somebody back at work, I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk to this person, or oh, I have so many emails to answer. I'm like, just, you're already doing it. Like, tell yourself right now, I'm already in this job. I'm already committed. I'm already this far in. Let's just keep it going. And that's how I picture myself too. I have goals for myself that I want someday. I'd like to be in different circumstances. I'd like to be making a certain amount of money. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you tell yourself you're already on your way there. You're already in that realm. You already belong in that arena, and it's going to be moments of imposter syndrome. You're going to have times where you're like, no, I don't. You have no idea how much I do not belong in this room. Don't worry about that. Just keep going. Action overrides that insecurity or that uncertainty. Just keep going and tell yourself you're already doing it. And then the last thing I want to go over is remember that the only score that matters is what's on the board. So in terms of sports, it does not matter if there's 2 football teams that one team had the best plays, the best runs, like so many sacks, all this stuff. If the other team ends up with more points on the board, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And like another example too, I mean, F1, like Formula One, like Lewis could have had the best day ever. Passing people, moved into 2nd place from 9th, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, it doesn't matter. Leclerc comes through. And then on top of that, he wins the Grand Prix for wherever. That's all that matters, is the score that's on the board. So don't forget that. And what I mean by this is there are people who were smarter than me. There are people who are better looking than me. There are people who have more success, money in the bank, you name it, they got it. But I'm putting in the work. And at the end of the day, if they change their mind, get distracted, don't stick with it. If they don't stick with it one less time than me, my score is going to beat theirs and I'm on the board. And really, I'm just trying to beat my own score. That's all I'm trying to do. The thing is I would say in the forefront, most people can physically, emotionally, whatever, run faster than me, go longer, whatever. But my attribute, my characteristic that does not stop is I'll get up again and again and again. I cannot maybe punch harder, but I can take a punch that's way harder. And I can still get up. I can still go. I'll do it while I'm crying. I'll do it while I'm in depression. I'll do it whatever it is. I'll make it happen regardless, and make sure that at the end of the day, people may go like, damn, like, she's not more talented than at the end of the day. I promise you, I tell myself all the time, I bet on me anytime. And that's how you guys need to feel. You need to feel like you're going to bet on you. And if you don't, start doing things that make you feel like you're going to bet on you. And the simplest way to do that is do what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to start making dinner at home more, make dinner at home more. If you say you're going to stay up and watch a movie with your kids this Friday night, cancel that golf game and watch a movie with your kids this Friday night. If you say you're going to start being a better employee and hitting your quota or whatever, put in the effort. Start, and then you will start building trust with yourself. And then you will start betting on you. And there's no better feeling, I'm telling you guys. It's great to have something gifted to you, but when you build something yourself, it is a whole separate level. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's all I have for you guys today. Sending love from your Midwest girl. Until next time.